Two, one. Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 274 of the KBMOD podcast. It is Easter Sunday, April 16th, 2017, and I am here. I am not Scott. I am Brandon, joined by Brad and KD. How are you gentlemen doing?
Doing pretty damn well, I'll be honest.
Yeah, you look like you're doing well. Look like you've spent the day praising the Lord.
I did. I spent the day, with my good brothers, preaching the good word.
In your
breaking
Jesus
some bread.
outfit.
Yep, giving thumbs up.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was just.
I wonder how many people do that on Easter, like wearing a Jesus outfit and do the thumbs up thing in like a non-ironic way.
That's what really confuses me. Like, I wonder. So Indiana Comic-Con happened this past weekend, and for some reason they decided to like have it on Easter Sunday. So, and I didn't attend today at the time of this recording, and I really wish I would have, because part of me does think there was some Jesus cosplay that I missed out on.
I bet there was.
Would have just been great.
That actually would have been. I mean, for Comic-Con, that would actually be pretty relevant. Like Easter Sunday Jesus cosplay, that would work. But I feel like
it'd only be truly great if it was Jesus, but then he had a furry helmet on.
Oh, okay, yeah, that would
quite a bit of that cosplay at Comic-Con.
I'm sure there are a lot of Christian furries out there.
Yeah, more than you think.
All right, well, that's going down a road I'm not sure I want to go.
Yeah, let's not.
But Scott is not here with us today. He's doing family stuff. So we're just us three. But we have a great cast for you. As KD mentioned, you went to Comic-Con. Tell us about that.
Yes, I did. It was great. I planned on only going on Friday, but for some reason, the kind girl at checkout, bless her heart, ended up giving me a 3-day pass instead of one of those 1-day bracelets.
Ooh,
so I took her up on that offer.
Maybe,
yeah, I was pretty lucky.
Was she trying to flirt with you or something?
I think she looked genuinely confused with what she was doing, so she just picked up a lanyard, gave it to me, and
flirts, KD.
Oh, okay.
You gotta pick up on the signals.
I should have gotten her number. Just give him a 3-day pass at Comic-Con. I'll remember that for next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. So I ended up going Friday and Saturday this past weekend. The first day, I ended up wearing my beautiful KBMOD A t-shirt.
I saw that. You were looking good.
Yeah. Comic-Con's all about, celebrating your most beloved icons, and what better image is there to really celebrate, second only to our Lord and Savior, the KBMOD A. But I absolutely loved the reactions I was getting to that shirt. Like the main thing I did at Comic-Con was just stop by booths and talk to smaller or local artists, because I bought a shit ton of art from people. Like there was some really good stuff there. And 90% of the people that saw me commented on the KBMOD A shirts and like, your shirt is terrifying. And I'm like, thank you. And a large amount of people thought it was from it was like a reference to a horror film, like it was a character in a horror film.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it was getting off that effect. I thought it looked like a pretty comical shirt, but I can see how from a distance it would kind of give a wrong message. It's definitely not a sightly shirt.
No,
I mean,
no, it's not.
It fits a certain taste. I'll say that. But
I'm kind of glad that you wore that around Comic-Con to get different people's opinions on it.
Yeah, I did. And then I started bringing up
that you cosplayed as Twitch chat. Is that what you?
No. Oh, one day. Speaking of cosplay, they had something there. You could take a full body 3D render of yourself and have it 3D printed into a figure, which that was very tempting to just take a pose doing something like that, or something ridiculous. It was I think for maybe a 3-inch figure, it was $100 to get 3D printed and shipped to you.
Oh wow,
which isn't
terrible. That feels like a lot for 3-inch figure. I mean, I guess if it's custom, I guess it's not.
Yeah,
crazy.
It might be 4, maybe 5 inches. It definitely wasn't as small as I'm saying.
Okay.
Or isn't making it sound, but they had different sizes. It was they went up to a pretty decent size. if you want to figure the size of a monster can, I'll say that. I have one in front of me. Like I figure that big would be like $400. But
Jeez.
yeah,
you gotta really want a statue of yourself at that point.
Yeah, you must really be confident in your cosplay if you want to kill. But no, that was cool. I was contemplating doing that. What was cool is that you could get your render done and then decide if you want to get it or not. So I was thinking about doing that. But you have to keep that pose for a considerable amount of time.
I was gonna say, how long does it take for them to do the scan?
I think 5 minutes.
Oh wow, you gotta hold a pose for 5 minutes.
I have to. I was gonna do this lip thing too.
The anime girl pose.
One of those. Yeah, I have to hold that. What was great. I wanted to get a picture with like a lot of people cosplaying. Like I'm initially not gonna do it because I feel awkward taking pictures with people. But like I was walking up to like these like Five Nights at Freddy's like full body cosplays. I was like, hey, can I get a picture with you guys? But can we all do this? And doing that. And so just having like characters, I walked it to like a pyramid head and a nurse from Silent Hill, and they're both doing this. He's holding it up to his helmet. So that kind of made it easier for me just to take like some of the most serious characters and just have them like do the most shitty pose you could think of.
You were pulling people out of character, huh?
I was, I mean, they could refuse at any time. No, I wasn't. I don't think I was rude at all.
I'm sure you were probably not the most awkward person at Comic-Con. I feel confident saying
yes, that's damn true. My goodness. But there was a that reminds me. My second day, I wore this Evangelion shirt, which got a lot more positive praise to it, and there was like several cringy people stopping what they're doing, walking in front of me, cutting off traffic. Like, where'd you get that shirt? I'm like, I got it online at the Yeti. And he just looks at me and then starts taking off. And I'm like, all right, cool. But yeah, that was cool. And then the main thing I went for, there were a lot of cool actors there. I saw Charlie Cox, who was Matt Mercer on Daredevil. No, Matt Murdock. What am I saying?
I was gonna say Matt Mercer is a different person.
Actor. Yeah, completely different. But and then there's King Ezekiel from The Walking Dead. There was I can't remember her name. It was the original, one of the original actresses for Star Trek was there. The original Red Ranger was there. That was awesome. Voice actor for Finn from Adventure Time. That was cool. But I went to go, mainly I was super pumped to see Jessica Negri. I'm a huge Jessica Negri fan. And so like I went to her panel. That was a lot of fun. Like it was just hilarious the whole time. So I was pretty happy to go to that.
You get a picture with Jessica Negri?
I did.
Nice.
But yeah. And what was I gonna say? There was one person that it was in like a Q&A, and she like they did like an extended Q&A with Jessica Negri, and she goes up and says like, Jessica, I've been watching you do cosplay for years now, and I love all your work. It's really inspired me to do cosplay myself, and I really just hate all the people saying that you're just being a sex figure or you're dressing like a slut, and I hate all that. And she's like, oh, thank you. And she's like, yeah, you've really inspired me to, be cosplay. I want to be exactly like you. Well, not slutty, but and she says that, and the whole auditorium is just dying laughing. Everyone's going, whoa, hey. And it was so funny. And that girl's like frantically apologizing.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny.
You only get one shot at those questions up on the microphone.
Yeah. One guy did get up in line and said, they did like a rapid fire. And so he goes up to the microphone for Q&A and goes, is it pronounced GIF or GIF? And the whole audience was like, oh. And she said, like, she answered with, would rather fight 10 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck.
See. She deflected.
That's pretty good. I mean, yeah, she got ideal response.
But, I would like to know her stance on the GIF versus GIF battle, so that's kind of unfortunate.
Oh, it's such a divisive...
She's a GIF then, if she's not willing to admit.
Actually, you're probably right. You're probably right.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. Enough. Yeah, the only reason she would choose not to answer is if she knew she was wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But yeah, other than that, I really just bought a shitload of beautiful art from people. I'll probably post a lot of pictures on Twitter, but there's just so much good stuff. I'm not going to hold it in front of the webcam, but
yeah,
waiting on getting frames for them now. Some really good like watercolor Zelda and like Full Metal Alchemist. There's this really good Okami print. All really good price too. So, and it was really cool meeting all these people. I have about a stack of 40 business cards
Cool.
So yeah, it was just cool interacting with all those people, some really talented people. That was the main reason I went. But yeah, it was a pretty successful couple of days.
Was that your first Comic-Con?
No, I think that was my third or maybe fourth
Cool.
Comic-Con. But yeah, definitely my favorite so far.
Awesome.
I was had a bad experience a couple of years ago when I wasn't really as good with my money as I used to be, and so I kind of sort of got tricked into buying these two like plushies from an anime that were like he told me they were super rare. And then I look them up and they're on Amazon for half price what I paid for. And it was like no refunds.
That sounds like a classic Comic-Con move.
It was a classic. Yeah, exactly.
Young naive
Classic
boy.
heartless vendor. That's why I was like, I'm only gonna buy things from not big vendors. I'm gonna buy them from the people. No, I'm not gonna buy like the official artwork, I guess. But I mean, I would just trying to say just like from local artists, like stuff that they drew, not like so it was really cool
supporting like independent artists and stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. So it was cool doing that. Only thing I really bought that wasn't that was like I'll hold it up here. It's my wallet, so hopefully my ID doesn't poke out for the camera. If you're an audio listener, it's a Zelda Majora's Mask wallet. Pretty beautiful.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Thank you. But yeah, it's pretty fun, and it definitely has me more excited for next year. Because when you go to Comic-Con, you're really spending money on a ticket to spend money once you're there. That's like if you're not going there with money to spend. It
kind of seems like a show to just spend money on things.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I had money to spend, and it was a lot of fun.
Cool.
Ended with a lovely dinner at Denny's, so can't complain.
Oh man, what a week!
Yeah.
What'd you get?
I got another country fried steak.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
fantastic.
I'm the kind of person I'll find one good thing and just keep eating.
You stick with it.
Yeah, I stick with it. That's why things
that's
like
the beauty of Denny's.
Yeah. I could have about 20 more country fried steaks right now and be that or the bourbon chicken skillet or the Gouda chicken skillet. Can we okay, for Extra Life, we need to take our equipment to a Denny's and do a podcast from a Denny's.
I would love to make that work. But I feel like Denny's is a private space. That's for us to enjoy time with Denny.
With Denny, with America's Diner.
We don't need the internet being part of that experience.
It's way too intimate.
It really
what are you talking about? Twitch has a category just for that. IRL.
That's true. Well, maybe one of these days.
That's possible.
Actually, will we see a Volition stream at a Denny's? I don't
know. It's possible. It's possible. I mean, I wouldn't rule it out for the future.
Can you finish your Hitman playthrough at a Denny's?
I mean, I could, if I was going to do an IRL stream, there is a reasonable chance Denny's would be a location I would consider.
Okay.
I will say that much.
Excellent. I feel like IHOP, as bad as that sounds, would be easier to hook up a stream there. Because that place is going to be dead at midnight.
I didn't see where you were going with that, but now it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, just
the casual shot at IHOP.
I don't know, man. Maybe I need to. IHOP has good breakfast food, but other than that, they just don't really bring it, in my opinion. I made a mistake one time of getting the sirloin steak at an IHOP. Took up about a fourth of the plate. Another fourth was corn, and half of the plate was mashed potatoes. And yeah, it's not a good night.
Yeah, I would not recommend a sirloin steak at a breakfast joint, but definitely not a place that is known for pancakes.
Yeah.
As it turns out, you cook steak and pancakes slightly differently. So
yeah.
No better for next time.
I went to IHOP expecting, something like America's Diner. I should have,
Yep. I think many people are under the impression that they're on the same level, but it only takes the wisdom of experience to know the difference.
Yes.
That reminds me of my it just irks me every time I think about this, but my cousin's wife, I go to the coast a lot, and at the coast there's magnificent seafood, and and some of the best seafood you can get. But for whatever reason, there's this one spot we really like to go to, and she gets chicken strips. Like,
Oh,
why chicken strips?
chicken strips
It's
at a
like,
seafood joint?
Yeah, and it's like they're not even that good. They look like they just took something from a freezer and then fucking deep fried it. It's like,
Oh God.
why do you do this to yourself or me? I don't want to even be in your presence. Like, there's so much. Even the chowder is amazing. Like, come on. Like, it just don't get. Yeah, it just reminded me, steak at an IHOP, whatever. But
Yeah.
anyways, sorry.
Always good to lean into to specialties wherever you are. If you're at a seafood place, unless you're like allergic to seafood, get the seafood.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, cool. Anything else you guys have been doing aside from Comic-Con shenanigans?
I got some freelance work here in the last week, so I'll be doing
Cool.
social
I heard about
media
that.
for a company called Rio Toro. They're a hardware company, basically from a bunch of old Corsair employees, and I think they launched Rio Toro like 3 years ago. But anyway, so you can't see any of it now, but if you follow like Rio Toro on Twitter and stuff, you'll start seeing some memes and stuff, in the next few weeks. And
Okay, so you're
content from
gonna
me.
so you're gonna start. You're gonna try and be the next Denny's or Wendy's
Arby's.
or Sonic the Hedgehog.
Think of yeah, never mind.
I mean, don't
Arby-
give away any secrets. I feel like if you haven't even started yet,
No.
I'm sure you're brimming with ideas.
I am. So you just
How
follow
many
Rio
how many
Toro now.
retweets for a free Rio Toro computer?
for lifetime. 18 million retweets for unlimited computers. God damn it.
I will probably be doing some giveaways though. So if you guys just want the inside scoop, we are going to be probably giving away some hardware. So if
Okay.
you guys want cases, all-in-one coolers, power supplies, all that jazz, just you can find me or Rio Toro online. But yeah, that's what's been going on with me.
Cool.
Did a hike this last weekend.
Cool.
Still a little too muddy, but admittedly it was gorgeous out, so we had to get out. But other than that, not really too much going on. So
All right. Well,
Yeah.
in a rare change, I actually had some stuff going on. I went to 2 concerts this week.
Yes.
Which was really fun. I mean, normally I've never been to back-to-back concerts like of different types. I've been to festivals, where they're like 2 or 3 days long. But it just so happened that 2 bands I wanted to see, one was in San Francisco on Thursday night, and one was in Oakland on Friday night. So I went to 2 concerts in 2 nights. I went and saw Perfect Circle, and then Coheed and Cambria, and both were really good.
nice.
Only thing that was frustrating, and I tweeted about this because I was frustrated. A Perfect Circle. I mean, if you know the band, my guess is you probably know one song of theirs. Their most famous song is Judith. It's a great song. It's like really hard. It played on rock stations for many years. Probably still plays on the radio. Like, it's one of their most popular songs ever. Didn't play it. Just didn't even bother. And so I kind of knew that might happen because the front man is a little bit egotistical and stuff. But that was the only down point of the show. It was a great show, but come on, like you haven't toured for a few years now. You know what people want to hear. And
That's like I don't know if you've heard of that hipster band like MGMT. But they have that kids song. I guess they refuse to play kids outside of big events, but or at least they have in the past, from what I heard. But
yeah, it's I mean, I'm not like huge on. I guess I don't like when you think that like the art is above the experience, like why people are paying for a ticket. And I think that's the only thing that upsets me is like, as someone who thinks often in like rational business terms, it's like, look, I understand if you make a set list and you think that this is like the most artistically interesting thing you could do, but also people are paying money to be there, and you know that this is like your most popular song for a reason, and it's not like you can take some artistic like, I don't know. You can go a little out of the box, but when you haven't toured in a long time and you don't play the biggest song you've ever done, it just seems weird to me. It seems like you'd want to, right? Like that's what's going to get the crowd hyped up. So that was anyway. That was it was fun. It was a good show. Other than that,
Cool.
And Coheed was really good. Yeah, Coheed was great. And that that venue is a little more intimate. It was in like a theater sort of setting, so we were actually up, just I don't know, 20 feet from the stage.
Oh, cool.
So that was a great show. And
Yeah,
actually, I've sorry to cut you off, but both nights we went to a diner afterward, and that was like maybe better than the concerts themselves. I also had a chicken fried steak on Thursday night with chicken fried steak with eggs.
Oof.
And then Friday night we went to a diner right next door, and I got huevos rancheros, which is excellent. That's I don't know if everyone knows what huevos rancheros are, but it's like eggs with tortillas and salsa. It's kind of a Mexican breakfast dish.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Fantastic. So
Cool.
Yeah, so had a nice week and that stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, Coheed they kill it live. Like I remember when I saw them, I think maybe a year ago, paying for like the priority access tickets, like being up there on the bar, is absolutely worth it. Like Claudio, he just like is so captivating on stage. Like he just keeps the energy going all the time.
Yeah. I didn't realize he's as old as he is. Like he's nearly 40. And he doesn't look it. I mean, I guess maybe he does up close, but just when he's on stage, you're right. He brings a ton of presence as a front man.
Oh, absolutely.
And yeah, they do put on a great show.
Awesome, cool.
So
they play a lot of stuff from their new album.
Not really. They played a lot of stuff I wasn't super familiar with. Like I'm not a super hardcore Coheed fan. Like I know a fair bit of their stuff, but it's mainly from only from a couple of albums. So there's a couple other albums they've done that I'm not as familiar with, and I think they played a bunch of stuff from those albums. So it was a great show, but I actually didn't recognize as many songs as I had the previous show of theirs that I went to.
Yeah, when I saw them, they definitely pandered to the first couple of albums, which I mean, I appreciate it, but I can see a lot of people definitely not their most popular.
Yeah,
songs.
I was kind of surprised they played very little off of their new album, which did surprise me. But it was almost like the reverse problem from A Perfect Circle, that like they played all their like old stuff, just like the classic favorites that a lot of people liked, but I'm not as familiar with their old stuff.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Awesome.
Well, cool. So what have we been playing, gentlemen?
I'll go ahead and start us off.
Yeah, start us off, Katie.
So Neo came in the mail, finally, after picking it up on sale. And I regret to inform you that I have not played it, because I have just been so absorbed in Persona 5. All I want to do is play more of that goddamn game. I want to hang out with Ryuji some more. I want to work at the flower shop some more.
Please stop
that game.
Talking about the game before we get it. Like a notice.
I'm sorry.
Take down. Like
my favorite part will be the event that takes place after July 7th, where no, I'm just kidding. No.
Very funny.
That game is just outstanding. Like everything about that is like, I feel for a lot of people that's a great gateway JRPG, if that's something you want to get into. Like the Persona games, they always like really amaze me. Like their prologues take forever. Like it'll take you about at least 8 hours to feel like you've actually started the game. But that whole time you're just completely like me. I'm so interested in everything. The characters are like really well done. The voice acting. I mean, it's not an all around A+ for voice acting, but for the main cast, it's some decent work. And yeah, the option for Japanese voices if you want that. But it's always remarkable to me how they can keep the interest going, and like where large parts of the game will have you focus on like, social life stuff instead of, dungeons. And there's such a healthy balance between those two. There's this really cool feature where you can connect online and see the percentages of what everyone else did on the certain day that you are at. So you can see like, okay, this many people finished the dungeon this early. this many people, went studying or whatever. And but yeah, I mean, I just wish the game would have told me to take, another day to do the fucking thing, so I didn't lose, 3 hours of progress.
You're still upset about that.
I'm still super salty about that. Even after I beat it with 1 day left, I'm just on the edge of my seat, hoping I don't die in a cutscene. But
I mean, what's another 3 hours in a 100+ hour game?
Oh, well, I suppose you're right there. No, but I mean, it did give me the chance to, optimize some stuff or get some chests that I missed. Because you have to make lock picks in advance for certain lock chests. But yeah, so it gave me a chance to do that. Someone else go quick. I really have to take a shit. I know it's unprofessional. I'm so sorry. I'll be right back.
Wow. Okay.
So sorry, dude.
Okay, well, that's that's how this works with a live production. Well, while we wait for Katie to get back, Brad, what have you been playing?
I've been trying to get into Rust.
Trying to get into Rust. What does that mean coming from you?
Well, so they did a big update to the engine, and but to do that, they had to wait like another week just to iron out some bumps. But the problem was that wait basically pushed us over like a month of playing since like the last time we played on a server or something like that. And I don't know, I just can't get back into it. I don't know if it's where we're at or it's just uneventful, but I don't know. I think the other thing is too, I just have a lot of games I want to play right now.
Yeah.
So I've been playing I played a few hours of ukulele.
Oh yeah. You seem to like that, yeah?
Yeah, my first impressions are pretty good. But I do see where some of the criticism is coming from, because it is a little hard to, like, some things you come accustomed to from like playing current gen games. It's like the game could really benefit from, like having a map, for instance. Like,
oh wow.
Like really basic stuff that like
Maps
would
are
be
good.
really nice. Yeah. Or like being able to skip cutscenes. Like, so if you do something in ukulele and you try it, but then you mess up, you have to rewatch the cutscene again and you can't skip it. So
yeah.
like when you're doing a 3D platformer, you're gonna mess up a lot. So or you're gonna die a lot, and you will go through those dialogue scenes or whatever it might be quite a bit. And some of the stuff's pretty challenging, which I find pretty nice. But I think what's actually frustrating about the challenge is I have to watch a stupid cutscene every time. So
yeah.
That kind of put a damper on my mood. But other than that,
like
it seems
little
pretty
quality
good.
of life changes.
Yeah, I mean, it was kickstarted, and I don't know. They're pretty active on updating the game. I think they're going to be. So I just have a few hours in, and I barely scratched the surface. But so far, it's decent. It's definitely a call to the old Banjo games. Something that Rare would have produced. Like this game, I would expect is like if they didn't stop making games, after their acquisition, like I imagine this would be it. But it just feels like it's 10 years old, but with today's graphics. But I don't know. And then I've been playing Battlegrounds, of course, which I think you've been playing a lot too, right?
Oh yeah.
Which I've been liking. I'm anticipating the update this week. This week they're going to be doing a performance improvement patch, and it's just some quality of life stuff. They've already done some stuff with like footprints, the sound of feet, like people walking and opening doors, and fixing like rain and thunder and stuff like that. But as far as I can tell, it could definitely benefit from some performance improvement. They have done some server side stuff, so it's like, I don't know, when we were first playing, like when it first launched, you had to like mash like the collect button, the use button, which for me is F. So you just mash, and like eventually you'll pick it up, or like you'll get in and out of a car 5 times. But other than that, it's so nice. Trying to get it back into H1, I can't do it. I tried their update, but it's just like Battlegrounds is so good. Like, I don't know. What are your thoughts? Like, what else have you been playing? Because that was it for me. But You've been playing
Um,
Battlegrounds.
yeah,
How's up?
I've played a very small amount of Hearthstone, and I've been trying to kind of get into this expansion, but I think I've just been a little bit demoralized because this expansion feels so expensive compared to past ones. And like, I thought it was, maybe I shouldn't have like gone onto Reddit and started looking around at other opinions, but
That's your
uh,
problem. Yeah,
yeah,
Reddit.
well, and that generally doesn't help things, but like when I bought $50 worth of packs and only got like a couple legendaries, and I don't have any of like the legendary quests. I'm basically like I'm not able to make some of the like the decks that seem like they're really strong right now, and I can't really
Mhm.
experiment with those, and that kind of like has dampened a little bit of my excitement for this expansion. But the other piece is I've mainly just I've been engrossed with Battlegrounds in a way that I've not been engrossed in a game recently. So that's been pretty much all I've played over the
Oh
past several
yeah.
days. And I've actually played some with KD. Like I've been playing with
Mhm.
some groups because it's so much fun in a group. And we
Oh,
actually
so
got
much.
yeah I got my first team win with KD and a couple others, and we
What a
actually
win
got
that was. That
yeah
was
it was a
sexy.
great win, and then we got another win back to back. So like two back to back wins,
Mhm.
um, felt really good, and we actually got another win, a team win yesterday. I was playing with
Oh yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
yeah, so
I
like
feel like
it's
duos is my favorite. I don't know. Duos
duos
is
is
just
really
a
fun. I
nice
think
balance.
duos
Yeah.
is
It's a team.
definitely I think duos like is the most can be the most dynamic because it's only two people, and so you feel like you've got I feel like everyone kind of spreads out a lot. With the
Hmm.
larger group games, I feel like a lot of
Mhm.
times groups will always hit certain spots, and so it can be hard to like start a game. And if you get to another spot that another group is at, like you're probably both going to end up losing because like they'll lose at least one person, you'll lose at least one person. But I think the group games are really fun, and both of the wins that we got, I had a very low number of kills. And I think it says something where even games where I'm not really the one doing the killing still feel very tense.
Hmm.
And really my only problem right now is kind of like you were talking about some of the syncing stuff. So like
Hmm.
Yeah.
when your animation picks something up but it doesn't actually pick something up, or when you try and get in the car but like you accidentally get in and then get out because it's not responding quickly enough. And those are like things I would kind of expect from an early access game. So I'm not necessarily surprised by them, and I would expect that to get better over time. But it's really just it's the little pieces where it needs polish that like I mean the game I think the core of the game is just so good already. Um, but I do hope to see maybe like some more some more like mods and weapons and things because I feel like
Right.
over time it probably will get a little bit stale in
Oh,
terms
they are
of
going to
the
add a new weapon in the next update. So
Ooh.
they said. So
Have they
that'll be
said which
cool.
one?
No, but they had like
Oh,
schematics or something of like the design on a computer screen. That's all we got.
railgun.
But people in the replies said what it was. I don't remember what it was off the top of my head.
Okay.
I wish Scott was here because I was going to shit on him while he was here about playing. I can't watch his streams anymore because like I want a backseat game the whole time because it's like Scott, you
Oh
have you
no.
have no armor. Why did you just leave that level 2 behind? Or like you have no helmet, and like helmets are so important in this game.
Mhm.
Why did you skip over those? Or like Scott, you you have all this ammo for this pistol that you've been carrying for the last half hour. Why did you swap out the pistol for something else and not pick up any ammo for it? Like it's like I just wanted to give him a hard time about it, but it's like, oh my God, Scott. And that's the thing. Like everybody has their own style of playing, of course, and it's very different. Because I like to be pretty strategic. Well, I think I'm being strategic with what stuff I'm picking up, but some people just go balls deep, like drop as soon as they can, and just like think, like fuck it. If I'm gonna make it to the last, I'm gonna make it to the end with a fucking frying pan. I'm gonna make it to the end, So, um,
Mad Men.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you're
I've been really enjoying it. I think the only thing I would like to see from a gameplay perspective is you mentioned a new gun, and it's like I do hope they release new guns and stuff. I think that would make it, you know, more fun over time. But also just like I feel like the attachments right now are a little imbalanced because like the suppressor is just like god tier, right? And
yes,
everything else
yes.
is like, it's, you know, it's like it's fine, but it doesn't really matter that much.
Mhm.
And the suppressor is game changing, and the same thing with the ACOG 4X scope. It's like that's a game
Oh, yeah.
changer. If you don't have that, you're at a huge disadvantage going into some of the later rounds. And so, like, I would love to see just some variation on other things that are as impactful as those two, because it's like you basically always want ACOG and a suppressor on your weapon.
Yes. Yeah, I think a
You would
good
never
change
pick
would be just
another. You would never pick another like attachment on the end of your gun other than a suppressor if you had a suppressor, and I think that's like
Exactly.
that's not great for the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they should add just maybe a little bit of screen zoom to like the red dot on the hollow side, just to like, put them on the same level. But yeah, right now the 4X and 8X just dominate. I mean, there's no question about
But
it.
you
Same
get
with
that
the
when you
suppressor.
press shift. You know, when you hold your breath.
You can hold
Did
your
you know
breath.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
Oh,
when
I
you
didn't
hold
think
your
you could hold
breath,
it with a red dot.
yeah, when you hold your breath with a red dot, you actually zoom in. Like,
Ooh.
it's not
Oh,
much,
fuck
but you
me.
get a little. Yeah, it's
Okay.
pretty nice.
always new
All right.
things to learn with the game.
I'll redact that
But
statement.
yeah, I've just basically been playing that a whole bunch with a group this weekend, and it is really one of those games where you can just, you know, you and your group die, and it's just like, let's just go again. It's one of those games where
Oh yeah.
you end
Mhm.
up all of a sudden it's 4 a.m. because you just want to keep going one more time, and so it's been bad for my sleep schedule, but it's been a lot of fun. So I'm definitely like looking forward to their patches and stuff. I feel like this is one of those games where I will keep track of new patches and be excited for new patches, in a way that I haven't been with a game like that for a while.
So
What are you doing after the cast, Brandon?
Well,
You gonna jump on?
we'll see. Maybe some battlegrounds.
I just remembered I almost won a match. Well, I've won a couple matches, but this one in particular was interesting because we're doing fours. It was just me and my buddy, but my buddy was left. We had 4 people, 2 died, and it was just me and my buddy. But the person I was playing with was just drunk as hell, and he was just like, basically, I was driving him around while he was eating Cheez-Its and drinking beer. But like,
Oh my god.
but the best part was kept getting us in a circle and getting us loot and stuff to the point where I stopped hearing from him. And I guess I heard from him the next day. He just passed out at his keyboard. But like I got us to number 2. And
Oh
like
my god.
there's 4 people, so it was left, and it was the whole other squad. So I took out one person, and I was just going around, and I managed to keep him alive because he was in the car. So I like kept moving him, and like
It's
there's
like an escort mission.
well, basically, because before that, it was like I was watching a hill. I took out a couple people approaching us. I got their stuff, you know, healed up, moved along. I was doing really well, and then it was like, you know, the circle was really coming down, and I just had to let him go because I couldn't risk moving the car anymore.
No.
Oh,
But
man.
we were number 2. You know, if he just didn't pass out at his keyboard, could have been number 1. But
That's awesome.
I brought him all the way there, and it was pretty nice. So
That's
I just
pretty
thought of that.
impressive.
Cool.
Yeah, it was fun as hell because it was like, great. Now I just need to bring my retarded friend around everywhere I go, and I'm gonna see if I can get number 1 because that's even a better feat. It's like, not only did I make it to the end, but I brought my drunk ass friend all the way through, and he did jack shit, and I basically carried him. But
Yeah, it's like a VIP
I was-
mission.
yeah, so it was. I'll take number 2, but you know, it was a whole squad that I had to deal with. But
I think those
Could've
types of
been number
moments
one.
are what make the game so much fun, because like there are a lot of times where you'll get number 2 in that situation, but the one time you get number 1 in that situation, there are very few better feelings.
Oh, absolutely.
oh yeah,
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of it too. I've been trying to get better. I definitely, if you're planning on improving or if you're planning on winning, Definitely make sure you have Frost on your team and give him the sniper rifle if you find it, because that is a guaranteed win right there. That guy's a beast. I did feel like, it was me, you, Frost, or yeah, me, Brandon, Frost, and our boy Tycoon Mike was on the team, and it does feel like certain points like me and Mike are being babysitted by YouTube, which I'm fine with that. I'm learning.
Yeah.
But like, I just remember that one game when both of you had died. We both jump in the car. I drive away in a frantic with no game sense, just trying to get away. I park the car right next to an enemy team, jump out, and we both get sprayed down.
Yeah. As it turns out, Battlegrounds punishes you for perhaps lacking game sense.
Yes, it does. I seem to get a feel for definitely you need a careful ear to pick out where a bullet is coming from instead of like the sound of it hitting close to you or like zooming past you. That's just something I need to like.
It's definitely like CS:GO levels of sound mattering. Like if you can't hear if you can't hear or tell which direction things are coming from, like you're going to lose. Period.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I think it's very punishing when it comes to the way you play. Like even someone accidentally clicking on their mouse, and firing a shot, like that can end your team just because now all of a sudden everyone around you knows that there's someone in your vicinity, and so it's cool to have that tension. And yeah,
Yes.
as we sit here talking about it, like I just want to queue up. I want to play more.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But we have a podcast to do, so you know what, Brad? Why don't you tell us what's going on in KBMOD?
Not too much this week. Nothing crazy going on. Couple things to point out. You still have our regular streams going on. Make sure you're following us, at Twitch TV/KBMOD. And we have all sorts of cool streams going on. Next Saturday, though, we're playing Bad Company 2. So reinstall that bad boy and
reinstall it. I never uninstalled it.
Well, some people out there I know have precious SSD space, so
All right.
But other than that, that's the only change to our streaming schedule, at least what I'm aware of. But as far as our content goes, which you can go see by going to kbmod.com, we have a new review of basically a rhythm shooter called Arrow. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. AAERO by Acero6. Check out what he had to say there about the game. And, leave us a comment. And if you have any questions, we'll make sure we get back to you. But it looks like a cool little fun rhythm on rail shooter. So check that out.
06, your fucking boy pumping out reviews for this website like a goddamn champion. Can we get some hands on the chat?
Like it.
Please? I know that doesn't translate well to a podcast listener, but you can raise your hands up wherever you are listening to this.
Unless you're driving.
I'm sure.
Please don't raise your hands. Keep your hands on the wheel.
That's true.
Drive safely.
Yeah, maybe not that. Maybe just kind of wiggle your feet a little bit.
Ask your passenger to do it in your stead.
Yeah. If you're in class, just tell your teacher. Also, good on you for listening to the podcast. In class, you've got your priorities and straight. But.
Yeah, maybe you're in your rest period, like hanging out in the cafeteria or something. You can raise up your hands. That's true.
Raise up your deegs.
Raise your deegs. Take the gun out of your backpack and. No.
Okay.
No. All right. So in the news this week. Speaking of, I got nothing.
I was going to say that, boy, if you could have segued yourself out of that one, would have been impressive.
From gun violence into Burger King advertisements.
Yeah.
That would be a segue of champions.
Yeah, so our first news story here, this is a technology-related news story to scare everyone into who has like a home of the future, sort of idea going on. You might have a Google Home or an Alexa, and I actually have to be careful that I don't trigger my own when I'm talking about stories like this. But Burger King had a cute little ad where they used in the ad, they said, "Okay Google, what is the Whopper burger?" And actually like we probably triggered someone's Google Home just by saying that. So I apologize in advance. But they thought it would be funny to have this ad on, and then it triggers people's Google Home, and then it starts reading the Wikipedia article for the Whopper,
Yeah.
which
So
this is just like such a bad idea on so many levels. But what are your thoughts?
Well, so let's get a couple things straight. So basically, what Burger King did is I forget who it was some marketing specialist or something, basically edited the Wikipedia article,
Yeah.
beforehand, knowing that it was going to do that. And so, but what they didn't consider was Wikipedia. Anybody can edit your page. So what they had said. Basically, the last decade, Wikipedia's page for the Whopper began with more or less the same sentence. The Whopper sandwich is a signature hamburger product sold by the international fast food restaurant chain Burger King and Australian franchise Hungry Jack's. But last week, they changed it to the Whopper is a burger consisting of a flame grilled patty with 100% beef with no preservatives or fillers, topped with sliced tomatoes, onions, lettuce, pickles, and yada yada yada. Basically, ad copy. And of course, you can see who made edits, and it's their marketing chief. But like I said, anybody can edit these. So let's just say some people's had some interesting ingredients that they've added to the Wikipedia article, and it wasn't so pleasant for people with a Google Home. But it was only aired nationally. It wasn't some okay names like History, Spike, Comedy Central, MTV, Adult Swim, The Tonight Show, Jimmy Kimmel Live. Just a couple small runs.
Yeah, the small indie outfits.
Yeah, and so Google actually had to intervene on the 12th, and they updated all their homes so they would stop responding to the Burger King's commercial. And the Wikipedia page has also been reverted. But that's pretty crazy that Google had to pay some intern or somebody to basically program the Google Home to say, like, okay, if anybody says, okay, Google, what is the Whopper? Like, please ignore that request. Like,
yeah, I think it's I'm like amazed that someone thought this was a good idea. It's one of those things that's like cute, and people like, when you're listening to podcasts and stuff.
Idea. I like it. I think it's smart. It's not.
I don't think this builds trust at all. Like, to take advantage of, basically to like ingrain in people's minds that voice-enabled devices in your home are like still out of your control. I don't think that inspires like confidence in anyone or endears people to your brand. Like, I don't think people think it's cute, right? Because that's
the thing though, because like people think it's funny when they try and get Alexa to make a fart noise. So I mean, you're really overestimating, I think, the level of people's care.
I mean, maybe I am, but like it might have been innocent this time. But like with an Alexa, you can order things on Amazon. So like this commercial could just as easily have ordered something. And obviously they would almost certainly never do that. But I think reminding people that any audio playing in your home could trigger like this device that is supposed to be personal, I think it's just a terrible idea. And obviously like it backfired, right? Like, I don't think Burger King, well, I don't know. If you subscribe to like there's no such thing as bad publicity, then maybe they're being talked about more than they would be otherwise, and so maybe they win out. But aside from having
what else
that,
is there to talk about the Whopper?
Aside from if we put aside that meta conversation, like, I don't think this is a net positive for their brand when the day after, or no, maybe like the day this like gets press, Google literally disables it. Like, you lose your whole ad spend. That's stupid.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, I hope that people will not like. I hope that for the sake of consumers out there, brands will not will not take advantage of the fact that they know where their commercial is going to play. Like, because there's something playing on my TV and I might have some device triggering it, I think is sort of breaking the trust that you're trying to build, presumably, with an advertisement. So that seems weird to me. But
speaking of taking advantage of devices.
Ooh, nice segue.
Some. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, this is this next news story is just like so stupid and hilarious. So inmates in an Ohio prison built computers hidden in the ceiling and then connected them to the prison network and like basically sort of hacked into the prison network.
No, it wasn't even that. It was so they literally stole one of the jail, like the officers like login credentials, and just used the internet under his name. So like somehow they just like paid attention to the dude like pressing key by key or something. But like so what got them caught was basically their IT was like, wait a second, what? This guy's using a lot of data and he's not he's not even working right now. So yes, pretty amazing though.
It's amazing because the computers, they built the computers from like spare parts from this I guess this prison program where the inmates take apart old computers for recycling, and I guess they like smuggled some of those parts and then put them together. This whole story seems so far-fetched to me. Like how do you have like a router, a network hub close enough where inmates in a cell can hook up a computer?
Yeah, I went into, what they were really looking up. Mainly just porn. It said it was loaded with porn. And then things like, they did get antivirus software. So good on them.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that's good. At least they were trying to be safe.
But yeah, other stuff like, password hacking, email spamming tools, stuff about making homemade drugs and explosives, and credit card stuff. So not all good stuff. And also found on there was a large amount of traffic to the KBMOD.com. And they're definitely listening to the podcast.
My understanding, we are a big hit in prisons, so that doesn't surprise me.
They love us in prison.
I have to imagine there will probably be people fired over this. Like I just can't even imagine. I can't imagine being able to do one part of this, let alone like construct a full PC, have access to the PC, like use the PC, connect it to a network hub. Like none of this in a prison. How do you do any of this in a prison?
If you ever
that just says that like somebody's not watching them. That's the thing. Like,
well, I mean, yes, but that's I can't even imagine. I guess you would really have to be lackadaisical in terms of security at this prison, for people to be able to do this much. And you only find it after like your IT staff. I think it was actually the WebSense filter. Like some of you might be familiar with WebSense.
Yeah,
like, they spotted that there was an unusual amount of bandwidth account. That's just hilarious to me.
Well, it's kind of a weird epidemic because I've heard of like jails like constantly having to confiscate like cell phones.
Yeah.
Like cell phones are being smuggled to jails, and like people like, I don't know what goes through their head, but they're like, hey, I'm a live stream on Facebook right now. Like and it gets them caught, of course, but like at the same time, it's like some of these people are communicating with their family and stuff through Facebook, through these cell phones. And somebody even did what was that challenge people do where they all stand still?
Mannequin challenge? No.
Yeah.
They did not do the fucking mannequin challenge.
They did a mannequin challenge in jail. And everybody got in trouble, of course. But how does this stuff happen? But yeah.
It's ridiculous. We did see that they were on the jailbreak server in CSGO. A large amount of activity there.
Oh my god.
The Rust RP. Oh my god.
Hilarious. Wow.
If you ever struggling building your own computer, just remember that a group of inmates were able to get spare parts and make a functioning computer.
Yeah, I guess maybe that's the takeaway, is that it really is not that hard to build your own computer.
It really isn't. This is the inspiration that some of you might be needing.
That's fantastic.
No word on specs. That's the one thing.
Just have like an i7.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, yeah, it's maybe surprising that they were able to get that much internet activity through like these recycled parts. I mean, these had to be like some old Pentiums or something. Um,
Oh yeah.
and I mean, where I'm curious,
Yeah.
where would they have gotten a monitor? Like, I don't think. I mean, I could see rebuilding a PC from spare parts, but like, where are you gonna
Mhm.
get a monitor? You're not rebuilding a monitor.
Yeah, there's no picture of like where they. I mean, we see like the modem and like all the connections and like the PC itself being brought down, but don't really see a monitor anywhere.
Yeah,
It's like,
I am curious. I will assume, let's assume that somehow like you're able to build the PC and then connect it to the network hub. I'm curious, like, where do you use the PC? Like, are you literally under so little supervision that you're able to just
you can,
sit
yeah,
down in your cell and use a PC? That
it's
seems
crazy.
crazy to me.
Getting on the Steam sale. Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, man, that's
So yeah,
crazy.
inmates are doing whatever they can to get to the internet, and Minecraft is doing whatever they can to take more of your money.
Ooh, man, you are
In this
on
newest
point with
update,
the
yeah,
segues. So we've got
we're hit.
a few quick hits here. As KD alluded to, Minecraft is launching a community marketplace on the Pocket and Windows 10 versions of the game. And this marketplace, we were looking at this before the cast. I can't tell exactly like how far each of these like different packs go that they're going to be on sale, but based on this little screenshot from the blog post, there's some buttons and it says like skin packs, texture packs, worlds, mashup
Mhm.
packs. So I'm not sure how deep they will get into like allowing mods, but it basically looks like they're trying to kind of monetize light modding on these platforms. Um,
Yeah, I'm
so I was
not
Well,
curious to
sure.
see what you guys think because it's basically turning Minecraft into like a free to play thing. They're having like a currency, Minecraft coins. What an original name!
Yeah,
Uh, and
I mean, what's interesting to me is like this isn't really all that new for like a platform like this because like I was trying out Minecraft on PS4 recently, and on like a console platform, you're actually able to download. There are a bunch of texture packs. They're official like Fallout texture packs, like RPG texture packs. They're like 30 different like skins available for you. So stuff like this being moved over to like a mobile device isn't really all that crazy because I think it's been done before on consoles. But yeah, I
I'm
think
just
this
gonna
is the
be
first time. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna be upset if the internet doesn't lash out because like that was the thing. Like chat's talking about Valve tried doing this with in partnership with the Skyrim developers and publishers with modding. You know, we want to support our modders, but also at the same time make money off
Hmm.
of their mods. Well, you know, is the internet just going to turn the other way now just because it's Minecraft? Who gives a shit about Minecraft? Like, that's the thing. I think people are so devoted to Skyrim that they just, um, you know, got their pitchforks and started raising hell. But like, I think they're just going to turn the other way
I think
because,
people may not pay attention to this because it only affects the Pocket and Windows 10 versions, which I'm going to go out on a limb and assume those are pretty small player bases, at least relative to, the number of copies of Minecraft out in the world. But it's still, I mean, I agree with you that this is basically the same idea, trying to monetize modding. And I actually I'm curious about one specific call out here in their article. They say, the super important that the creator gets the bigger chunk of the profit or whatever. But they say the App Store platforms take a 30% cut, but creators get the majority after that. I don't know what that
Hmm.
means because that wording tells me that it is not a 70-30 cut. It is a 30% cut and then some other, something
yeah.
else.
So like,
Saying
oh,
creators get the majority after a 30% cut, like, I don't know what that means. Majority of 30% could be anything more than 35%. Uh, anyway, I don't know. I don't have a great feeling about this because I feel like this is kind of the direction that just Windows in general feels like it wants to go, is like this closed platform direction where you get your community submitted items through, through the Windows Store and Microsoft gets their cut. And I feel like Minecraft is one of the biggest examples of like the huge value in open modding and like kind of having your game be so accessible. And I think in general, like I would love to see Minecraft be more imaginative now that it's owned by Microsoft. Like we were talking about, it's a big deal in education. Like I would just love to see them doing more interesting things with Minecraft instead of monetizing it in like this weird free-to-play way.
Yeah. Agree there. Yeah.
Anyway, I doubt. I mean, I doubt any listeners even have the Pocket or Windows 10 versions. If you have one of these versions and you actually play it, I would love to hear from you and understand why those are the versions you play. But I did look up Minecraft on the Windows 10 store, and it costs $10 on the Windows 10 store. I think that's kind of crazy. Like if you're gonna launch this community marketplace thing, I think you got to make it free. Like that's the way I would download Minecraft on the Windows 10 store, is if it was free, and I'd be like, sure, I'll try this. But $10, and then you want to charge like free to play kind of pricing on community mods? I don't know about that.
Yeah, gotcha.
But
yeah,
the next story here, I'm not gonna read the title here as it's written because I feel like one person here has specific opinion.
Yeah. Which
Brad?
is just really unwarranted.
Do you want to take this one?
Yeah, I mean it's the most accurate and fitting, but
this is just disgusting to me. Why'd you give it to him? This is not a terrible.
I'm a huge Sega fan, obviously.
Okay.
I love Sonic, and games like this just make me sick. Hit up Feminist Frequency right now. Loners Rejoice as Bayonetta makes it to PC. So, you know, all you kids out there that just can't, you know, bypass your dad's filter to watch porn, you can at least buy Bayonetta on Steam now, so you can get your gameplay, if you know what I mean.
That sounds like a lot of opinion wrapped up in what I thought was going to be an objective news story about the release of Bayonetta on PC.
You're a fool. You're a fool if you expected that from him. So last April Fools, we all remember 8-bit Bayonetta dropped on Steam. Beautiful little joke, which also had a countdown. That turned out to be on the day of the countdown ending. Bayonetta appears on Steam with a glorious run. I haven't picked it up, but from what I've heard, it runs absolutely beautifully. When in the past, you know, the best it's ever run is on the Wii U at, you know, 40 to 50, sometimes 60 FPS. But yeah, this I've seen performance at like 60 FPS, like 1440, pretty damn well. Yeah, Bayonetta, one of the best action games ever made. Only $20 on Steam. I mean, it's some of it you have to go into with the mindset that it's absolutely insane. Does not take itself seriously at all. And yeah, it's just a really good action game. It's a shame that Bayonetta 2 probably never going to make it to PC because Nintendo's got a pretty tight grip on that, because that game really only exists on the Wii U because they picked it up, which, I mean, it's a fantastic game, but probably not going to be on the PC. So, but yeah, if you want to pick up Bayonetta, absolutely do it. Only $20, just a steal for that game. Really,
yeah, it seems like a reasonable price for a remake that's, you know, got basically tier 1 support when it's a game from 2009.
Exactly. Unlike Bulletstorm, which decided to be, you know, a solid $50, $60 price range for some Duke Nukem DLC.
Yeah, I think $20 to me feels like that sort of the right price for me to spend on a game that maybe I played back in the day, but I just want to play a new version where I don't have to like hope that it works or try and figure out if you know, a game I played on Windows 98 or XP is going to work right on Windows 10, things like that. Like, I think $20 is that seems like a reasonable price for a well-made remake. But anything more than that, I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a really good price considering the age. I think, you know, Bayonetta, they could easily bump it to 30, and I'd say absolutely worth it. But yeah, 20, really a steal. So pick that game up. Definitely on sale if you want to, you know, give it a try. Yeah, really, really solid game. So, yeah, speaking of solid, if if you're in China and you
Oh,
masturbate and you become solid, then chances
Wow.
are you play. Someone take this away from me.
wow, that was not good.
That was rough. That was rough. Oh, I think we're breaking even now. I had a
Sometimes you
couple
can
really
just
good
make a hard
segues.
transition and say, next up.
Yeah, I have to remember that's an out. Yeah, I'll have to keep that in mind next time.
Sometimes that's the only option you're left with. But
My immediate thought is just to go to dicks or some kind of joke, which really
Yeah.
shows you what level of
well,
humor I'm at.
we'll improve your segue skills. CS:GO testing is coming to China, which apparently, according to Brad, the CS:GO subreddits have been blowing up over this news. The URL is just csgo.com.cn. So that's kind of a scary URL, that .cn.
I'll get a virus from that immediately.
But yeah, I mean, it looks official. It's written in Chinese, so the best I can do here is Google Translate.
Yeah, the big thing here is people aren't really, that we already have Chinese professional players, at least that I'm aware of. It's not like people aren't playing the game. But what's going to be interesting is with Valve officially coming to China, there's a couple different things that the community is really interested about. Basically, when you bring in a game to China and you're doing something with like a gambling or unlock system, you have to say the rates, you have to publicly disclose them. And so the community is wondering, okay, is Valve going to keep the same rates and publicly disclose that, or are they going to do a different model for the Chinese market? Which I think would be pretty interesting in that sense too, and the community would be pretty upset with. But either way, it's a bold move for Valve. But that's kind of what's gotten them, stirring up the subreddits.
Yeah,
because I don't
Go
know.
ahead.
Oh, it's just I just go back to thinking about my favorite people that have made all these skin websites and videos, of montages of them opening hundreds of cases, and I just can't wait to read what at what rate am I going to be able to get that knife, the $300 knife that everybody wants or something like that. It's just ridiculous. But
yeah, I'll be curious to see, because we saw that like news story pop up around Overwatch. That Overwatch, you might have to like give up their drop rate percentages and stuff if they operate in China. But I don't know that we've really seen that law or whatever from China turn into any real information yet, from publishers. So I feel like maybe they're still sort of figuring out whether how transparent they have to be, or whether they like change the game in China so that they have like a different version. That I feel like that gets very complicated very quickly. So yeah, I'll be curious to see if CS:GO exposes the drop rates for the things that English players can get.
I'm on the website now. I just love some of these poorly translated like English headers. Like if you scroll down, you see "it hurts as it burns" in all caps, and then the next page says "trigger pulled, battle smelt." Like what? Translation's not exactly
definitely
that
something
great.
lost in translation. I feel like Google Translate can only do its best trying to
It's
translate
just,
from Chinese.
I want to get that tattooed. Trigger pulled, battle smelt. That's a good
But
statement.
yeah, so the Chinese community is getting their own servers, from what I've heard. I don't remember what the date was for that testing, in case we have any Chinese listeners. But
I understand the
just-
KBMOD podcast is pretty big in mainland China, so definitely
Right.
appreciate you calling those listeners out.
in Macau,
shout outs to the Mandarin dub team working every week to yes.
To localize our podcast for that audience.
Yep. I really want to get in touch with the French localization team. Man, can you imagine how hard that would be? Get the comedic timing right. So Yeah, CS:GO going to China. If you're in China, you're probably a small man. You've got a small computer, and if you got a small computer, you probably don't have a lot of space. Our next news story: Galaxus built the world's first single slot only GTX 1070, which would be perfect for your small computer because it only takes up one slot on your motherboard. This is just insane to me that you have this beast of a card only taking up one slot.
Yeah,
Boom.
the picture of this card is pretty impressive. I don't know that I've seen a single slot card like this before that's got like a as powerful a GPU as a 1070 is. But yeah, I mean, if you have a small case, I could see this being a pretty reasonable thing to put in. I don't know why you would necessarily get one if you have the room for a larger one, but I guess maybe if you had a smaller motherboard, like you could even SLI. It is a very thin looking card. I'm impressed.
Yes. Yeah, it looks very good.
Immediately, my head went to like water blocks and stuff like that. Just because, like,
Yeah,
chances are, if people are putting water blocks on cards, it's just going to be taking up one slot anyways. And
That's
usually,
true.
those same people are buying a lot of hardware. So SLI, here we come. So,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
but yeah, I'm pretty curious. It's by Galax, of course. You can only buy their cards here in the U.S. I don't recall why, I mean, you can buy them in the U.S. but only through their store,
Okay.
or eBay if you're brave or whatever. But they have some crazy good cards. I mean, they have their 1080, the Hall of Fame. Literally has like a turbo button on the back that just like maxes out the fan profiles and all this other stuff. It's pretty nutty. And the quality is there. But it's pretty interesting to see this single slot profile for the 1070. So
yeah, it's interesting. I haven't heard of Galax before this really. Like they're not a household name.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I'll be curious to see. I mean, I guess the household you wouldn't become a household name if you're not on like Newegg and Amazon and stuff. So
right, at least for the North American market,
Right,
that's the
right.
thing, So if you're not in Amazon, like it's like, oh, I haven't really heard of that before, So
yeah.
but yeah,
Well,
they're a reputable company. I've worked with them before. Good hardware, but this is pretty neat.
Cool.
It's a blower design, just a big old copper heatsink covering the GPU and the memory.
yeah, it sounds
Yeah,
like
it looks
they built a custom PCB for the card, which is pretty neat. But they haven't said when it will be available to purchase or for how much. So I guess maybe my excitement would be dampened if this card was like 20-25% more expensive than a normal 1070.
Yeah.
But I
yeah.
imagine it would have to be if they did some custom work for this. They would have to charge a premium, I imagine. But
I could easily see that. Yeah.
yeah, but like Brad said, I guess if you're interested in that card, if that interests you for a small build you're doing or something, you got to keep an eye on their website, galaxstore.net. It's like Galaxy without the Y on the end.
Right.
Yeah, pretty awesome. Pretty awesome looking card. Looks really nice.
And you
Probably
know
going
what?
to sell.
You know what,
very
KB?
well.
You know what?
Yeah. Yeah.
This card is not in production yet, but
Mm.
something was in production
Oh,
and is going away.
I liked my segue more.
What was your segue? Give it to me.
I just
just felt you going off the rails, and I was worried.
No, I was kind of falling off. I thought I could have recovered. No, I was going to say, this card looks very nice. Looks awesome. It's going to definitely make them a lot of money. Unlike Nintendo, who hates making money, which
okay, that's
is
pretty good.
I probably would have fallen off there. But
Okay, all right.
what
There's
we're
definitely a
getting
lot
at
of potential.
is-
There are a lot of potential avenues for that one, so I feel like we
for
at least did okay. But you're right. Nintendo does apparently hate money because they're discontinuing the NES Classic.
But you know that one that everyone wants, that one that sold 1.5 million units. That one. They're just getting rid of it. It's just gone. It's out of production. When asked why, they said it was never meant to be. It was never intended to be an ongoing, long-term product. And they said, however, due to high demand, they did add extra shipments. but not really sure. That's definitely money they're straight up not getting, because I know from working in retail, this thing is still insanely in demand. People do want this, and it's still insanely hard to find. I don't know what the fuck is up with Nintendo with this.
Well, I think a lot of the speculation is that obviously Nintendo or the NES Classic is going to cut into like retro virtual store sales. Like that's what a lot of the speculation I've heard is like, okay, we want the Nintendo Switch to do really well, but like
Oh
if
my
people are just
god.
flocking to the Classic to play these retro games, well, clearly we need to stop producing the Classic because
Oh no. Because I'm remembering they have that subscription service where you get a free fucking virtual console game for your subscription.
I
Are
forgot
they?
they were rolling that out at some point. I don't know if they have or not, but yeah, so that's a lot of the speculation right now. It's like,
Okay.
okay, Nintendo needs to we got to drive those virtual console sales. Um,
Come
which,
on.
by the way,
That's
people are hacking this thing to put out. Uh, somebody even got it to run Linux, um,
wow.
but somebody hacked it to put basically a number of NES ROMs, so they didn't even really need to. Like, it was just a perfect solution for that. I don't know how Nintendo felt about that, but people are doing all sorts of crazy stuff with this. But yeah, I think it was selling really well. Like you couldn't get one anywhere. That was the thing. Everybody looking for one couldn't get one because they were selling out the moment they went in stock. Um, it was only $60
Mhm.
too. So I mean, they added what was it? It was never intended to be. Where's the quote? Uh, wasn't intended to be an ongoing long-term product. However, due to high demand, we added extra shipments to our original plans. Very PR move for saying like, oh, we definitely meant to sell this for a while, but like somebody higher up said no more. Like, that's kind of
Yeah.
the impression I get with this. Because why else would they like cut a successful
Mhm.
product? So
Yeah, it makes me think that that what you were mentioning about basically wanting to push people to the Switch, and like buying old retro games on like the digital marketplace on a Switch. That feels like it has to be why they would do this, because otherwise, I mean, why would you kill off something that is so sought
Mhm.
after and was doing really well for you? Like I didn't even want one of these, but I could clearly see the appeal. Like $60 is really nice, like Christmas gift type price point,
yeah,
like just birthday gift, whatever. Um, and so the fact that they're just going to basically stop producing them and leave it in the hands of the secondary market where there's a ton of markup and all that, like it has to be because they don't want to eat into the sales of the Switch, which kind of
Mhm.
sucks because like I don't really think. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure they've run the numbers on this in 100 different ways, but I feel like the Switch customers are not necessarily the same people who are going to buy the NES Classic for $60, right? Like my parents
well,
might buy an
even
NES Classic for a gift for someone. They would never
Mhm.
buy a Switch, let alone like go and buy retro games on the Switch.
even our boy Reggie here said that there was, who would have thought Nintendo had a market disconnect between the demand for the system and the supply Nintendo was initially prepared to provide. He said, when we looked at the proposition, what we believed was that adults, 30 to 40-year-olds who grew up playing the NES as a kid, 10-year-olds or so, but had stepped away from gaming category, this was going to be the buyer of the classic. And so that's why they only had so much of the supply. But I don't know. This is really weird. I feel like why not market? I don't know. I'm just really conflicted because obviously uh, it wasn't marketed toward 30 and 40-year-olds, but it was intended to be. But
Well,
I don't
that's
know.
what seems odd to me is I feel like it is very rare you see a company that appears almost like upset that this product they built ended up doing better than expected. Like they expected it to work in this one customer segment, and it ended up working in that segment and like a lot of other segments too. And then like instead of just embracing that and continuing to just print money from this system, they decided to do a few extra shipments, but then kill it. And I think that's, I don't know, that just feels like a very opaque business decision to me, that you would kill something that was doing so well for you. But I guess like they probably have two different teams, right? You've got like your Nintendo Switch team and then your like NES Classic team. And I bet that NES Classic team's like super upset, because I'm sure it was like a decision made to kill that off to benefit the Switch. Like that has to be it, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just like, what's wrong with just keeping it out there? And like, even if it was selling out every other week, like, I don't understand what was the motive behind just cutting it. Like,
Yeah.
if more, he quotes them as more active gamers are buying this, what's the problem here? Like, obviously, I think the Switch came into play. I really do. But
Yeah, I think it did, but I guess I'm surprised that you even ever released this when you knew you had the Switch coming along in the spring.
mm-hmm.
Why would you even release the NES Classic if it ended up being a runaway hit? Like, was the idea always to kill it off when the Switch came along? That seems just so weird to me.
Yeah, they started with the idea that it wasn't going to, if they said like the demand wasn't going to last that long, and then it proved to it definitely lasts that long. It seems like they should have changed their release strategy. But
Yeah, that's the thing that seems weird to me. It seems like these two products, the Switch and the NES Classic, I don't understand why those two products can't coexist. Like the NES Classic is not this core gaming experience, right? You're not playing Breath of the Wild on an NES Classic. So it seems weird to me that you would just cut off this cash cow. But again, I guess that's speculation. Maybe there's other reasons, but I don't see one sitting here talking about it right now.
It's to prepare for the re-release of the Game Boy Color. So
maybe no, you know what? You may actually be right. Like maybe that is maybe they have something else coming up, and they basically want to just like cut off the NES Classic because they have some new idea for like some other retro thing that's going to blow up the shelves this year. I don't know.
God willing, if you're listening up there, Lord, it's Easter. If you can bless these Nintendo executives to make a Super Nintendo Mini, at least now we know to pick that shit up instantly and not sleep on it. Like, because that is going to go.
I mean, like, I guess there is one. I guess no one but Nintendo can really do this, but there is something to be said, I suppose, for kind of always leave them wanting more. Like anything they do from now on in this retro category, like if they did make a Game Boy Color or something, it's going to sell out instantly, if only because people know they can go sell it on eBay afterward, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like they're always going to sell out because they always do this.
Yeah, God damn it. I wish it wasn't like that.
You know who doesn't hate money, KD? People releasing new games on Steam. Why don't you tell us about 5 of them?
You're right. We've got 5 new releases on Steam this week. Nothing. Actually, no, I'm not going to say that. Well, just because the first one we're looking at doesn't look all too promising, I shouldn't say it's not going to be a good week. But after its announcement at the Video Game Awards, it's finally out after. I just haven't seen any trailers for this game. This kind of is coming out of nowhere. It comes out like tomorrow at the time of this recording. But Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, the Telltale series, is releasing April 18th. Episode 1 is coming out, which, in spite of recent releases from Telltale, expectations aren't particularly high. But, who knows? They could possibly give you some choice this time. They could, fix their engine. I'm just fucking kidding. They're not gonna do that shit. But yeah, that Guardians of the Galaxy comes out April 18th. It's gonna be $24.99 if you pick it up on sale. I think within the next day and a half at the time of this recording. Basically pre-ordering it, you get 10% off. So that's nice.
I'm kind of annoyed that this is like the textbook example of marketing screenshots. Like clearly none of this is in game.
No.
And the video, their little trailer video, none of that is in game. Like I'm actually curious what this game looks like, because I only
Yeah.
really know of the. I'm trying to think, like, I know of The Walking Dead and how that game looks only in the context of The Walking Dead. Like, what does Guardians of the Galaxy look like as a kind of like point and click adventure sort of game? I have no idea. I would love to see an actual in-game screenshot.
Yeah, I haven't seen any gameplay for this game yet, and it's coming out tomorrow. And I mean, you know exactly what a Telltale game is going to play like. You know, if you've seen, you know, Tales of Borderlands, if you've seen The Wolf Among Us, you know, God help me, the Minecraft story mode game. You know exactly how this game is going to play. It's going to blue balls you at the very end of the episode. It's going to give you the illusion of choice. I don't know. Maybe, you know what? You know, I'm always going to be that one guy that says, maybe this one will be good, guys. You know, I actually, oh God, I've got fucking Batman Telltale sitting on my shelf. I bought months ago. I still haven't tried it. So I can't really say anything for Telltale. But, you know, time will tell if it's good or not. I'll check out the Steam reviews. But yeah,
time will tell the tale.
Time will tell the tale of the Telltale.
All right, I quit.
Amen. All right. Next up on our list is a game that's not entirely new, but is coming to Steam on April 21st. This game is called Everything. And I'm not entirely sure what this game is. It describes itself. It says, be the universe in this beautiful interactive nature simulation. It says it's an interactive experience where everything you see is a thing you can be, from animals to planets to galaxies and beyond. Travel between outer and inner space, explore a vast interconnected universe without enforced goals, scores, or tasks. Everything's procedural, AI-driven. Those buzzwords coming out. I'm really not sure what I'm looking at, but
I'm watching the trailer and it looks, you know, it makes sense. Like you see kind of some nature simulations. I see some fish, you know, I see like some birds flying past a skyscraper. And then all of a sudden I see like these giraffes doing flips.
Yes.
It's just literally them, and it's not even like complete
that.
animations. It's just them in like 4 separate poses.
Yeah.
Doing flips across the desert or something. I was like, oh, okay, I think I understand this game, and then now I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's definitely out there. Not sure what the price is. I can look that up real quick. I know it's on the PSN. Forgive the typing, but let's see.
It looks like a very tranquil game, which I guess seems probably what they're going for.
Yeah, for sure. It's $14.99.
Oh, okay. There you go.
So
that was close.
What were you thinking? What, 10? 20?
I guess 20. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I could see 22. But yeah, 15, you know, this is one of those games you look for on sale, I feel. Like you don't pick this up full price.
Yeah.
Unless it doesn't really. But yeah, I mean, keep an eye for that, or maybe, you know, if you have a PS4,
see this being a cool game to like test out your new video card or something. I don't know how the graphics are, but it just seems like one of those games where you just kind of make something and then sort of just watch it and enjoy it.
You could test out your video card, or you could play it while you test out your blow. It looks like it applies to both of those. So, yeah. So that's everything. But that's not everything for the new releases. Ooh. Next up.
On fire.
Damn. This game is called Orbit XL. Orbit is missing the I. Therefore, it's edgy. This is a, quote, intense, addictive, and fun, quote, just one more round score chaser. And in the description for this game, it says, perfect for playing while waiting in queue for another game. Now, what does that tell you about the confidence this creator has in their game? Or this game, you know, that you buy this, it's not going to be the main focus of your, you know, gaming diet. This is going to be the French fries on your plate while you're waiting for wasting your life in your ranked Dota 2 queue. Pull this shit up. I'm not quite sure what I'm looking at in the gameplay. From what I'm seeing, the guy keeps failing. It's maybe I need to inspect it more, but you know, it does look pretty artsy. It's a beautiful looking game.
This guy's pretty interesting. He leaves in his system requirements. If your specs aren't high enough to play this game, you should really consider saving your money and buying a new computer.
Damn.
A decision like that would greatly improve your life in many aspects, rather than the couple of hours of enjoyment you may get from my game or whatever. It's your money.
With a winky face at the end. in the additional notes of the system
I
requirements.
would like to see more games putting in additional notes for their system requirements that actually describe the real system requirements. Like, he said everything you need to know in the additional notes.
Damn, that's good.
I mean, if you're playing Guardians of the Galaxy Telltale, just know that you need a NVIDIA GTS 450. Okay, like they went all the way back to the 450 to figure out.
They've got a test bed somewhere, and they tried it.
Oh man, the
I have
test
a
bench.
feeling. I have a feeling they just Googled what was the earliest DirectX 11 card,
You're probably right. You're probably
and
right.
then they put that in. But yeah. Sorry. Anyways, what's the next
Oh
game?
no, this next one's not really a game, but this is something I've been thinking about. What'd be cool to like kind of it's very simple. This game is called. It's not really a game. It's like a design tool. It's called Card Creator. It's got a bunch of if you've ever thought about making your own trading card game or like putting your own cards together if you have some kind of project, this looks like a pretty simple, easy to use tool for making trading cards in that kind of that format. So it's got tools for like spacing of images. You can import images and give like a PDF export or export them as like PNGs and output them with extreme detail. So no idea what the price of this will be. I just thought this was worth adding because this seems like a pretty cool tool if that's something you're looking for, not something to be glossed over, because there are like websites that will charge a large sum of money to accomplish the same task that you can do with Card Creator. So
yeah, it seems pretty niche, but like if that's something you want to do, this seems like a pretty neat little tool to do it.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's just a small little addition that comes out in approximately 8 hours as of the time of this recording, April 17th. So if you're an audio listener, you can pick up Card Creator right now.
Ooh.
Doesn't that just blow your mind? Damn. Finally, on our new releases is a game called Flint Hook, which I saw at One PAX. I mean, I didn't go. I just saw Donkey made a video about it, if that tells you what kind of exposure I had to this game. But this is like a side-scrolling you've got a grappling hook, you can slow time, you've got a gun, very stylish, very good pixel art. It's made by the same people that made Mercenary Kings back in the day, so they know their shit. No word on a price yet, but yeah, Flint Hook. This is one that I've been looking at for some time now. Looks like it definitely has some potential. And of course, randomly generated. But, so yeah, it's got some pretty good recommendations from Kotaku, Polygon, Destructoid. However, the system requirements have no wit or humor, so I don't know if it could be worth picking up then.
Doesn't get much boring than OpenGL 3.0 compliant video card in your system
No.
requirements section.
Well, yeah, you're right. I see a little face they put into their About Me. It says like, well, not About Me. It's not Facebook. And they're about this game. God damn it. They said, uncover some mysterious secrets. I don't know. Are there secrets in this game? And then, a witty
Ooh.
2 capital O's and an underscore. But that's not going to cut it, guys. Come on. This is 2017.
No, they've already been one-upped by someone else.
They have. Orbit XL is just dominating that market. But yeah, that's going to do it for new releases. Let's jump into our viewer questions this week with an old friend sending us a question. Good old Blacklight Attack asks, is my Keepo a keeper? How do I know if my Keepo is worth keeping? And how do I keep my Keepo cleano? Should I consider a Sweepo my Keepo? That's a thinking man's question right there.
That's very philosophical.
Yes.
I literally just in my head put the thinking face emoji. Like, if I were to respond with anything, that's my response.
There it is. You should definitely keep your Keepo cleano.
Yeah.
Get behind the ears.
I would say it's a keeper, but if it's not clean, like clean it, and then I think you'll be confident it's worth keeping.
There it is. Simple question, great answer. Thank you, Blah.
Nice to hear from Blacklight Attack on matters like these.
Oh yeah, the most pressing matters. We love you. All right. Next up from Not So Ordinary Gamer, he asks, "Do you like Peeps? And if you do you prefer them fresh or stale?"
Which I
Is
have to
stale
ask,
peeps
like,
a thing?
yeah, that's what
This
I
is
want
my
to know.
first time hearing of it.
If I Google this
I-
right now and I find something, I'm going to be upset.
Stale Peeps. I my only experience with a Peep, I mean, I assume it's fresh. It was right out of the box, but it was disgusting.
No, that you can't assume that.
No?
I don't think you can assume freshness
Well-
just because you opened it for the first time.
Okay. I mean, it didn't taste stale. I remember that. It wasn't like hard.
Okay, well in that case it probably wasn't stale, but all right, I'm seeing a Facebook page called Stale Peeps that has this does not. All right, I think this is a meme group.
Stale. That sounds like a fucking meme group right
There's
there.
two
Oh, wait,
peeps
what?
on a plate that have plastic swords jammed into them, so that's pretty funny.
Mm,
So I looked it up, and they're saying 70 to 75% of our customers like it fresh, but a fair amount happen to like their birds on the harder side.
why would you phrase it like that?
That's the way the article
Come on.
said it.
No, yeah, I meant oh my god.
So basically, it gets crispy, I guess, and people prefer it that way, which I've never heard of.
That's an alarming percentage.
Yeah, 25%, like 25 to 30, like I don't know. God, in the same article, how can I make Peeps part of my everyday diet? Please don't.
Oh my god. Please no.
I kind of hate this entire article.
Right?
Yeah.
Did you find it too?
Oh,
Or-
I absolutely did. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, to answer the question, I do not like Peeps. We talked about this on the precast a bit, but I can eat it. I can eat them. It's not like I will not eat one if if I was forced to, or if I was dared to, or if there was some benefit to me doing so, I could eat one. But I would not choose to eat one.
What the fuck? In this article, am I the only one who thinks Drew Carey looks like a peep?
What?
Oh, yeah. Wow.
That's Easter content for you. It's got a short shelf life. But every now and then, this article's from 2014, so I mean they knew what they were doing, right? We just Googled stale Peeps, and they're getting their page views. Also, in this article, it says the person who is like the spokesperson for Peeps, they say some people poke a hole in the plastic package and let them sit or get some air for a couple of days. That's not stale. That is not what stale means. Like getting air and just getting the marshmallow getting harder, that is not the same as being stale.
Yeah. Stale is going through the gauntlet of age.
Stale is like you found Peeps from years ago. Those that's stale.
Mm.
All right.
Like
Well, the answer, there is an objective answer, is I do not prefer them either way.
So people are buying Peeps months in advance. So there's like a queue of Peeps that you have on like a certain date, until they become stale. I imagine certain people have. Because I imagine shops won't sell stale Peeps. So if you're one of that 25%, you probably have boxes of Peeps in the queue of your Peep consumption. Am I overthinking this? All right, next question.
I think if you're using the phrase Peep consumption, you're probably overthinking things.
Yeah, you're probably right. All right. Next question is from Jack via email. He says, "Hey, bro pile, I've been listening to the cast since KBMOD still used Ventrilo, and Brandon nearly banned me for TTS spam and llama grabs.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never asked a question, so I figured I'd start now as a way to procrastinate on my assignments. Number one, as a junior computer engineering student, I'm wondering if you folks use the skills that you learned in class on a daily basis. If not, did you learn most of what you use on the job, or did you self-teach in order to make yourselves more viable hires?" All
right. Answer number one first.
Yeah, we should probably take one now. I mean,
I'm
not
a
really-
fresh graduate, and so there's still I'll just tell you right now. There's like a lot you're gonna learn outside of college. Like you just can't learn without experience. And I think to answer your question, I did learn a lot of what I did outside of class from like clubs or volunteer positions.
Mm-hmm.
But there's stuff I use from college every day. Like on this as a side project, I'm trying to start a business for fun. And if I would have paid attention in my entrepreneurship class, it would be really helpful right now. You know what's funny though is so I'm trying to start this business. I'm not gonna spill the beans on the idea or anything yet, but basically, so I've been seeking advisors and researching funding and stuff like that, and so a couple of my peers that I like basically ask questions about, they gave me some reading and you know, to kind of check out, and I was like, okay, sure. And I go to Amazon to buy one of the books. It's like, oh, you want to purchase this book again? And I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Turns out I bought the goddamn book for a college class of mine and I never read it, but and my advisor, like that's kind of walking me through it, is telling me to read the same book. So now just imagine if you paid attention in class, you actually did the reading.
You paid money to attend that class.
That's right. Actually, I got an A in that class, so I'm just saying. And I didn't even read the book. But yeah, I think there is stuff I use every day. But even if you think the class is stupid as hell, pay attention. You never know when you might need it tomorrow. So sorry, I went on a long rant there, but
Oh no, that's good. Great answer. All right, so his second question
Hold on.
is, I know this.
Hold on, KD.
Oh.
You didn't. Are you going to answer this question?
Well, I don't exactly have too much college experience right now. I can't really say that writing essays is a valid skill for a day-to-day basis.
You don't write essays in your retail job?
Not regularly. No, I don't. I don't mail them out. But no. So I'm not really qualified for that question. Maybe in a few years I can be more of assistance. But
yeah.
Jack's second question.
Hold on. I was going to answer this question too.
Okay.
Just to add on to what Brad said, I think a lot of it will depend on your discipline. Like, let's say if you're going into an engineering background, you may end up using some of those hard skills, like some of the hard math skills and things like that on a daily basis, depending on the job you end up with. But I think in a general sense, I don't use a lot of what I got, like what I learned in college on a day-to-day basis. I learned probably most of my technical skills after college, but
Right.
But I think the thing that you learn in college is like how to work with groups, how to be responsible for, you know, for the things in your life, how to I think you learn some of the
That's what I was about to say. It was like you know, like college is really good at making you like a true adult. Like that's a thing. Like I think just being a functioning person in society. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's really what you take more away from college than the actual education itself. Like,
yeah, and I think like the biggest thing I think is working with groups, working with people. Most of the jobs you're going to get, I guess if you say you're a computer engineering student, you're looking to be like a software engineer or something like that. All of the jobs that you get are probably going to involve working with people. And so group projects and learning how to work with people of different backgrounds, people of different motivation levels, different experience levels. I think that's a really important skill that you can at least get a start on in college. But I think for engineering, like some of those hard skills will matter. It's just ultimately you never know what you're going to end up using because it's all going to depend on the type of work you do. Like, depending on the kind of job you get, you might be writing algorithms or you might be doing nothing of the sort. You might be working with databases or something. Like, you just never know. So it's, I would say it behooves you to try and learn all of the hard skills that you can and pay attention. But the answer is like, I think for a lot of people, no, you don't use those hard skills necessarily on a daily basis. But you definitely use the soft skills And occasionally when you need the hard skills, you're not going to want to be like Brad and remember that you took a class that you didn't pay attention to that then would have helped you out later on.
Right.
So
I definitely recommend, especially being an engineer, do an internship if you can help it. Most engineering internships pay. At least here in the Northwest, we have a program called MECOP. Basically, it's something engineering cooperative program. But anyways, basically they promise the interns a certain pay rate, a certain amount of hours, and I think from what the people I've talked to in that industry, they learn more from those internships than they do even in like the 5 years of college they do. And more often than not, you can get hired straight out of those. So definitely check out something like that. So
yeah. Also, one other thing that's maybe worth mentioning is there a lot of times interview on hard skills. So even if you don't end up using those skills on the job, you may end up having to demonstrate your knowledge of those skills to get the job you want. So that's
very true.
Yeah. Sometimes the interview process does not necessarily reflect what you'll do on a daily basis. And you can, like, maybe that's not necessarily fair or great, but that's how a lot of interview processes work. So it definitely, like, you should pay attention in class is what I'm saying. Like, you will not regret it.
Absolutely. Cool. So, the second question. I know this question has been asked before in some form or another, but I'm curious if your answers have changed over the years. Who have been the most influential artists/bands in your lives? Have you seen them live, and has seeing them changed your perspective or opinion on them as an artist? For me, seeing Tool live was just awesome and furthered my love for their music, but there have definitely been bands in the past, especially indie bands, that truly let me down. Thanks again for doing what y'all are doing here. Ya_ta. Ya_ta. And that's the end. Cool. Excellent email from Jack. Yeah, seeing Coheed live just, I think, really furthered my appreciation for them, especially, like, I can say the same thing about that for, like, most bands I've seen live. Like, Van Halen was great. What about you guys?
I know this isn't the artist or the kind of answer you're looking for, but at least one of the most completely different type of artist. But one of my favorite photographers is Noah Kalina. Some of you remember him from the YouTube sensation Take a Picture of Myself for like 10 years or whatever. I actually really love his work, and his work kind of challenges myself into like the photography that I try to do in my free time. And that's pretty influential. Not the selfie everyday thing for 10 years, the YouTube sensation, but his actual like commercial and artist work. I like shitty bands, so I can't really like, I still love Blink-182. Like, I mean, and I'm afraid to go even see them live because from what I've heard, they're not great live. But have you guys ever actually encountered that where like you guys really like a band, then you go see them live and it was just complete garbage? Like, that's kind of like
I think there are certain bands that I've seen live and I've been pretty unhappy with their like performance live. Like, there are some bands that I like that I feel I much prefer just like hearing them, on CD or
CD. Yeah, it's like way better, just the studio productions.
Especially like The Story So Far, for example. Like, just seeing them live didn't really do anything for me.
Yeah, I've seen some bands that like I haven't been super happy with the like the music levels and stuff. Like the music levels will be off, or it'll be kind of a vanilla performance. I mean, I mostly go to rock shows, so I wouldn't say I've been completely let down by one. But yeah, I mean, there are definitely some that feel a little more run of the mill, especially when you see other shows. Like, for example, I got to see Rammstein for the first time last year. And once you've seen a Rammstein show, pretty much everything else feels pedestrian. So you kind of have to recalibrate what a good show is after seeing something like that. But I mean, I think for me, I don't know. I've got a lot of. I feel like I have a lot of influential artists. For me, the answer is typically always like Pantera, Metallica. I don't know. I saw a lot of. I've been to a lot of different shows, but like those are the two that stand out. I've never seen Pantera live because I was a little too young for that. But that's like one of the bands that I really wish I could have seen live. But I listened to a ton of that throughout high school. And I mean, I still go to a lot of rock shows, so this is like a pretty timely question because I literally just saw Perfect Circle the other night. So, yeah, I mean, I appreciate rock far more after having seen a lot of the live shows than I did before seeing those shows. Like, I appreciate some bands who are like 3-person bands and their lead guitarist and their singer are the same person, and I didn't realize it until their live show. That stuff, like that kind of stuff, blows me away. So I have huge respect for a lot of those bands that I might not have had I not seen them live.
Cool.
All right. Cool.
Thanks for that question. Yeah.
Thanks,
That's
Jack. Good questions.
Cool. All right. And last question is from Tom via email. If you want back in time, reading these as written, if you want back in time to 2009, with the knowledge of the explosion of YouTube/Twitch that you have now, which current channel would you assume the role of? And is there anything you would do differently as that particular content creator? So if you could steal anyone's success, who would you go for?
Well, I worked for a YouTube channel and I never want a part of that life again. But I don't know. I think who would I say?
I thought you would say like Casey Neistat or someone.
Well, no, I mean no. I would honestly say I want to live the life of John Olsen. He's a daily vlogger, but he's a Swedish professional skier, and he's much more fit than I am and does much more crazy things than I do. And it's like, I just want to live that life for like a day. I think that'd be crazy.
I would probably hit up what How To Basic is doing. It's I'm just thinking on the scale of ad revenue versus effort put into your video, what to jump on.
You don't know the cleanup he has to do though.
That's true. That's true. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Which
I don't know.
Strangely enough, I think How To Basic is Australian. If you didn't know.
Oh, really?
Because he does videos with Filthy Frank and those other guys whenever Frank is in Australia. So I don't know what's with that.
Yeah, I know they do videos together. I didn't know they were in Australia though. That's cool.
Yeah.
I'd probably, part of me wants to like go for maybe like video game reviews before all of YouTube blew up with them, or maybe like sort of critique kind of videos, or maybe just over exaggerate playing horror games. That'll captivate a large.
Are you saying
you'd
take like Total Biscuit?
Total Biscuit, that might be one. Either that or he's not really that popular, but I would do this kind of the style of videos that maybe like Matthew Matosis does, and then just make them very consistently, because I feel like that would really grow an audience that I'd want to have. Or and if not that, then I'll just really take over the red hot nickel ball market.
1,000 degree knife.
1,000 degree knife, yeah, red hot knife on the KBMOD podcast.
Yeah, I think people are saying like PewDiePie and some of the obvious answers there, but I don't know. I don't think I would want to assume like PewDiePie, because when you're the largest channel, I feel like you get so much scrutiny, and And I feel like it's in some ways it can be better to be kind of just below that. Like you don't want to be the very, very top, but there are tons of people who, they're not like household names, but they still do really, really well. Like I don't think you'd want to be at the very, very top. It's kind of like I don't think you necessarily want to be like the most popular celebrity. You want to be like the celebrity that did something awesome, and like you basically never have to work again if you don't want to. But you don't want to be the guy that gets stopped every time you go to the grocery store.
Yeah,
Actually,
exactly.
I have an answer for your thing. So I would do Harley Morenstein from Epic Mealtime, and he does daily vlogs, which is cool or whatever. I don't really watch them all. But what he does a cool thing on is he gets like really expensive like action figures and stuff. And I think it'd be smart if he did like product reviews because like he's really insightful. I'm more of like an advisor at this point. Like this is where I'm coming from. If I were to sit down with Harley Morenstein and he'd ask me like, hey, what do you think I should do with my failing channel or whatever? I would say, dude, you should do some product reviews because like people do come to him for like his action figures and stuff, and I think they're really badass. But that is my answer to your question. So
Cool.
Good question, Tom.
All right.
And now is the time where we feature an iTunes podcast review, and we have a review this week. If you want to be like this person, you can also leave a review. You go to iTunes, you go to the podcast section, you search KBMOD. We are probably the only result, but if we're not the only result, I mean, I hope you can find the result that we are. Just look for the KBMOD podcast, sign in with your iTunes account, give us 5 stars, and then the world is your oyster in that review section. We've had many, many great contributions. You get to choose what goes in there.
We've gotten binary in here. So we've gotten
Morse code, we've gotten poems, we've gotten binary,
haikus.
People have gotten very creative. I must say the bar is pretty high at this point. But you know what? As long as it's not horrifically vulgar or illegal, we will generally feature it in this section.
Don't let that deter you.
Hey, I don't know how the spam filters on iTunes work, but I would say don't open yourself up to criminal liability by submitting an iTunes review. But all you have to do is leave us 5 stars, and we will most likely feature you on this section. So, KD, why don't you tell us who our iTunes podcast review of the week is?
Yes. So this week we got a review from Bot Mamba. Title of the review is How KBMOD is Chicken Soup for the Pleb Soul. Of course, it's 5 stars. It reads, if you're looking for a podcast that asks and answers the hard-hitting questions, look no further. Covering topics from the latest gaming news to if candy corn and cat fondling should be legal, Scott Fisher, along with sidekicks Katie Zen and that one pasty dude whose name is still unknown, are an energetic and sexual crack team who always bring a high production value to their show. These sexy cam boys provide an intellectual yet sexy element to the show that delivers gripping and tantalizing conversation and banter. Keep up the good work. Bomb Mama, that's one of the top 50 reviews, I'd say. That doesn't sound generous at all.
Scott Fisher, along with sidekicks Katie Zen and the one pasty dude whose name is still unknown. Is he talking about me or Brad?
Surely can't be you.
I mean, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's you because Scott. Well, first they never see me anymore because I don't have a webcam.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, maybe maybe he's talking about.
Scott always messes up your handle, so it's VO1.
That's okay. That probably makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. But yeah, he left you out, Brad.
I'm a little offended.
Yeah. But maybe you know what? Maybe it's because it seems like he's a very visual person. Like I get from the adjective he's using, energetic and sexual crack team, sexy cam boys. Like I think he's clearly into the visual element of the podcast, and so I think because you don't have your camera on, I think you may be invisible to him.
Yeah, I mean, when I started this cast, I was a frog, and now I'm a cheeseburger. So I mean.
Yeah, you
Brandon,
definitely have. I think you have your own brand of of visual prowess here, but it doesn't seem to be to his liking. So
Brandon, can you say "sexy camboys" for me one more
I
time?
cannot. I'm afraid that is
Ah,
the end of
damn
our
it!
show.
All right.
This has been episode 274 on this Easter Sunday. If you want to follow along with all the things KBMod does, we have various outlets you can do that. We have the website, obviously. That's probably where you should start, kbmod.com. You can find us on Twitter at KBModGaming. That's where I would say we're probably most active. But we also have a Facebook page, facebook.com/KBMod. We have a Steam group. We have a Discord, kbmod.com/Discord. You can find all of that if you go to kbmod.com. So really, that's just go there, and you can branch out to our various outlets from there. Thank you for joining me, gentlemen. We have at KDZen18. That's where you can find KD on Twitter. Brad is at Hutchison15 on Twitter. And I am at Volition. That's VOL1TION. I did not mess up my own name this week. And
Nice.
so that's going to do it for us. We will see you next weekend. You can find us. We're live each Sunday night, 10 p.m. Eastern. And we will see you next week. Farewell.
Yeah. Someone gonna finish that for me?
Oh, we're finishing it.
I'm
Huh.
just gonna leave me hanging. Boom.